Welcome to AI Stories. Join us as we explore the captivating tales that make up our world. A place where imagination takes flight and reality becomes an adventure. Get ready for a journey full of wonder and excitement. Please subscribe now for more interesting, and let's get started.
World War I, also known as the Great War, was a global conflict that lasted from 1914 to 1918. World War I was a global conflict fought primarily in Europe. The causes of the war can be traced to several factors, including nationalism, imperialism, and the militarism of the time. It involved the majority of the world's nations, including all of the great powers, and resulted in over 8 million fatalities and widespread destruction. The immediate trigger of the war was the assassination of Archduke Franz Ferdinand of Austria-Hungary on June 28, 1914, by a Bosnian Serb nationalist. This led to a series of events and alliances between countries, and by August 1914, the major powers of Europe were at war. The war was fought between two main sides, the Allies, including France, Russia, and the United Kingdom, and the Central Powers, led by Germany, Austria-Hungary, and the Ottoman Empire. The war was characterized by trench warfare, with both sides dug in and making little progress for long periods of time. Several key events helped turn the tide of the war in favor of the Allies. These included the entry of the United States into the war on the side of the Allies in 1917, the successful use of tanks by the British at the Battle of Cambrai in 1917, and the collapse of the Russian Empire following the Bolshevik Revolution of 1917. The war officially ended on November 11, 1918, with the signing of the Armistice of Compiègne. The Treaty of Versailles was signed on June 28, 1919, officially ending the state of war between Germany and the Allied powers. The treaty imposed heavy penalties on Germany, including significant territorial losses, military restrictions, and the payment of large reparations. The war resulted in the loss of millions of lives and had profound and lasting effects on the world, including the reshaping of borders, the rise of new nations, and the emergence of the United States as a superpower. It is also seen as a precursor to World War II, which broke out just over 2 decades later. The total number of casualties in World War I is estimated to be around 37 million, including both military and civilian deaths. Of these, approximately 16 million were military fatalities and 21 million were civilian casualties. The war resulted in significant loss of life and injury for soldiers and civilians alike, with many countries suffering devastating losses. The exact number of casualties is difficult to determine, but it is generally accepted that the Great War resulted in one of the largest and deadliest conflicts in human history. Key battles and campaigns. The war saw some of the largest and bloodiest battles in human history, including the Battle of the Marne, the Battle of Jutland, and the Battle of Verdun. Major campaigns were also fought in Africa, Asia, and the Middle East, as well as on the Western and Eastern fronts in Europe. Impact on society. The war had a profound impact on the world, leading to the collapse of empires, the creation of new nations, and a massive loss of life and property. It also brought about major changes in society, including the rise of socialism, communism, and women's rights movements. Conclusion. World War I was a transformative event in world history that shaped the course of the 20th century. The consequences of the war continue to be felt today, as the world continues to grapple with the aftermath of the conflict and its impact on global politics, economics, and society. World War I was caused by a combination of several factors, including political, economic, military, and social, with the trigger being the assassination of Archduke Franz Ferdinand of Austria-Hungary on June 28, 1914. This event led to a complex web of alliances, arms buildup, and imperialism that eventually resulted in the outbreak of the war. Other significant factors include nationalism, growing military power, and a desire for territory and resources.
Please subscribe now for more interesting